What's the best AI video tool out right now?
So for video, if you're looking for live action footage, VO3 from Alphabet Google is probably the best. And it makes sense when you think about their training data and sample sizes. They own YouTube. Like where the fuck are you going to get a better training model? Except Chinese internet, right? That's the only other place you're going to get a comparable set of training data. So the live action footage that VO3 is generating is just heads and shoulders above the competition.
Definitely, yeah. And like Ding was saying, since it has access to like all the YouTube library, natural movements are a lot better with the live action within VO3, just because it is trained on YouTube. So literally you can type in live action, person riding a bike. It'll almost be flawless every single time. That's what VO3 is definitely there for, the live action movements. Another good meme right now that's going around is like the Bigfoot. If you've seen the AI Bigfoot stuff going around, that's pretty good. But also it's like trained.
Like the vlogs?
Yeah.
Like
Bigfoot vlogs.
Like selfie
I've seen the Stormtrooper ones.
Yep.
But that's because it's all trained on human-like movement. So even if you have a character like Bigfoot, it's still a skeleton-like humanoid creature, so it'll move naturally. For 2D and 3D animation, I still like Howloo. I think they have been killing the game. When we learned about that almost a year ago now in class, I think the really good prompting system.
A lot of people don't know what that tool is. Say that one more time.
Yeah, so it's HowlooMinimax.ai. It's the Chinese model. There's V1.2, there's the V2, and then V3. Each of their sections have better for live action, 2D, and 3D animation. So whenever we're working on a video that requires like any 2D, 3D, we like to use the Howloo.
In Chinese, we pronounce it Hai Luo.
Hai Luo. There we go. Thank you, Ding.
The correct pronunciation.
That's all I'm good for. Is the Chinese pronunciation of stuff.
Okay, so we just talked about video. I think great point on the training model of VO3 having YouTube, such an unfair advantage. How is anyone going to be able to compete with that? Besides maybe the Chinese company and the Chinese internet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no
From a volume standpoint, no one comes close.
Yeah.
What's the best AI audio tool out right now?
Suno.
I
think Suno's the best. I think they all do similar stuff. Suno has the biggest brand and they have the most funding. They have the biggest war chest. So when all else is equal, if you could spend the most money on development, probably going to get a better product.
So now we have your tech stack is for video, it's VO3. You have Suno for audio. And with Suno, you can create, we were even doing this a year ago, right? We were creating our own music.
Yeah, that's a great use case. Like, talk about the background music and whatnot.
Yeah, we use it for background musics, for Ding's sales reps. We've used Suno for some background musics, even just company, like corporate songs or jingles. You can use Suno and make a banger.
Even if you're just making a vlog or you're creating a corporate recap video, right? And you go on the stock libraries of, something like, say, an Envato, and you can't find the perfect sound for the vibe you're trying to capture. Well, now you can generate something wholly new that didn't exist, right? And furthermore, there's no issues with copyrights, is because there's, how do people find copyrights? They have algorithms that reference it with an existing library of copyrighted music. Well, if the song you're using does not exist in a library, you're good to go. It's original.
Yeah. How are they training that? I remember there was a big debate right when Suno was coming out and the whole AI music was coming out.
Yeah.
This was maybe like honestly a year ago, because I remember listening to podcasts when I was paying my fence about this. There was a whole debate whether they could like train off of current like Universal music and like Taylor Swift and all that stuff. And you can't.
They're 100% doing it.
And if it's on the internet, it's probably being openly sourced, whether through selling data. Data is pretty much the new diamonds of today. I truly believe it. Companies can buy and sell and trade. And if it's out there on the internet, it's probably in a data source somewhere being bought and sold, whether you like it or not.
Yep.
And they can use that data to train and make new music. So
yeah, I don't know if there's been a landmark court ruling of it that has set a precedent yet, but I remember there were two distinct stories that I think pertain to this. So one was ChatGPT being trained on classic literature, and the New York Times had some beef with them, right?
Sure.
It was like all these news outlets were like, oh, we don't want you guys training on our stuff, but OpenAI, they train on a capture of the whole internet from from that
Everything
time period,
uploaded.
right? So if it exists on the internet, it's probably been trained on.
Yeah.
And it's, it's kind of a black box in terms of how they're doing it, at least for us, right? If you're a very high spec AI engineer pro, then, Sama is probably paying you a very large amount of money and you sign an NDA. For the rest of us, you're not going to know what's going on, and there's not really much you can do. So if you're a music artist out there, you're any type of creative, I don't think it makes a lot of sense to be afraid or be adversarial towards AI because you're not going to win. So you might as well, get with the program and try to find the W, right?
And that's what I'm saying. So even speaking on audio and copying people's voices, beats, styles like that, 11 Labs is another great audio program. And
or Deepgram.
Yeah, or Deepgram.
Deepgram's really good. Yeah. But yeah, so with voice AI, then Mason, we recently had a use case where it was very pertinent to a client project. So why don't you walk us through that?
Yeah, while we were editing that client project, there was a little bit of a hiccup with a wrong line said and went into 11 Labs. All I needed was 3 minutes of the person speaking, and luckily we had 17 of every speaker, and would upload their voice, tweak it here and there, and literally almost identically, you can't even tell that the last little blurb in their interview is all fake.
Yep. And there's something I think a lot of people out there don't know is when you're using something like Adobe Podcast Enhancer or Descript, a lot of these audio improvement tools are not actually changing the source audio they're given. They're actually using that to train a generative model to create new audio. And that's something that if you ask any sound engineer from the past,
I had no idea about that.
What they'll tell you is you can only polish a turd so much, right? So the most important thing in audio engineering is getting a really good raw capture, right? And I think this is true for a lot of creative fields, right? It's you can color grade footage and stabilize it, all to high hell.
Yeah.
But if it was poorly done initially, the lighting was bad, then you're only going to make it look so good.
For sure.
But now generative AI has come in and changed the game on that front. Is now you could start with a pretty shitty source material and use generative AI to get it to a point where you can use it.
For sure. Even if, rewind 5 years ago, we would have had to go into Pro Tools and literally pick out every single syllable to make, the actor or, use case say what we wanted them to do. And that would have taken hours upon hours of chopping up audio, making sure every single syllable lines up perfectly. But
and
now,
you still get a less convincing effect. Now one button, boom. And that's why when you look at these tools, why is there such an emphasis on the transcript? Is because they have to know what words you're saying.
For sure.
To generate that audio.
It's crazy. And definitely blurs the lines. And I can see where some people would be like, oh, well, I don't want them collecting data on my voice.
So we have our tech stack. We got VO3 for video. We got Suno for music. We got 11 Labs or Deepgram for voice. And then for scripting, storyboarding, what are you guys using the most? Me and Ding are using ChatGPT pretty much.
Yeah. Realistically, here's how I feel about the chatbots. Is that unless you're doing very high-level coding, which we're not, I don't think it matters too much. If you're using chat, if you're using Claude, if you're using DeepSeek, it doesn't really matter. If it's just text-based, you're doing outlining, you're making proposals, you're writing storyboards, it's the output is going to arguably have more to do with your prompting than what the model is. They're all pretty good nowadays.
Yeah, Adobe Firefly for mapping stuff out, but it's built into Photoshop. It's even in Premiere now. That's what you have. Say your clip ends 4 seconds too early, and you want to extend a shot. You can just AI extend it too. Also,
is this an add-on in Premiere and
it's
they just added
part
it
of the?
It's just part of the
Creative Cloud. Now they added that. They added a Fire. What is it called?
It's Adobe Firefly. It's their
Firefly.
model, but same thing. It can create images. Say you want to create a graphic and you're not the best graphic designer. I know I'm not, and trust me, we're still drawing kindergarten art on the fridge. And, going in there, mapping stuff out. You can draw stick figures for all Firefly cares. But as long as you block it out and map it where you want it to go, it'll help create that vision of that rough block. And then you can slowly go in and start adding more elements to it. So it's a good base building block for that. But in terms of scripting, ChatGPT is definitely still up there for me.
Yeah, we share prompts. We have a team account. We're sharing prompts.
Yeah.
so people can like use each other's models, which has been very helpful.
One final piece so we have video, we have audio, we have the planning and storyboarding, etc. And the final piece is still images, right?
Yeah.
And I think because video is new and sexy, people are sleeping on stills a little bit.
Sure.
And it's really important, especially if you're using non-VO3 models, like if say you're using Runway or using Sora. It's a lot easier to, what I like to call, anchor your generative video on the specific visual still that you generate. Most important reasons for that is speed and efficiency. It's a lot easier to generate, let's say you're using Midjourney and it's giving you 4 iterations at once, right?
Yeah.
It's easier to generate still images and get the visual aesthetic you're looking for as a great starting point and then doing image to video than to go purely text to video. And it could be way off what your vision is, even though your text prompt is on point. But the difference is the video is going to take you 2 minutes to generate every single time for 5 to 8 seconds. And the still images, you could generate 4 of them in 10 seconds.
It's a building block because, like you said, the text could still kind of get interpolated in different ways and still might not set you on that exact correct path that you want to visually represent in that video. So the images are 100% a good building block. It only helps the video translation move a little faster and, kind of get more bang for your buck because it's like, all right, here's this painting that I have in my head.
Yeah.
Here, literally putting it right in front of you. You can read it. This is the style. Then go from there. So instead of just having nothing to work off.
I'll sum it up perfectly for the audience. Or if you're going to create video with a model like Sora or VO, add an image, reference image that you generated, so the video is able to perfectly understand and animate and have a frame of reference for your video.
Right.
Yeah, I'll even go one step deeper on that is you can actually feed your generated image references back into an LLM and then have it parse that and then give you a clean prompt on, let's say you don't come from a AV background, right? You don't know all the terminology and vocabulary how to describe your vision. Well, you get pretty close with, say, a Midjourney or a DALL-E, and then you feed that into ChatGPT and tell it, hey, I want to generate a video based on this aesthetic. Give me the diction, the lexicon to be able to describe that.
Another thing too, like you said, we're pretty early adopters on this still, and it's still being built out. Every single month it gets better and better.
Every day.
Yeah, every day it gets better and better. And even when I was in my full AI class, there was a lot of people, I feel like, especially in the creative world, I can understand both sides of the argument. There are people who were scared to use it. They thought it was like HAL from 2001 Space Oddity and going to sink the whole ship and kill everyone along the way. But the counter argument to that was like, think about Lord of the Rings. Like Peter Jackson literally reinvented the wheel of VFX just to make 3 movies. Without that whole entire system that we have now, that's modern day VFX. Like every movie after 2001 Lord of the Rings was built off that program. So it wouldn't be here without it today. And it's only going to keep getting better and better. And there still need to be artists or AI artists, creators, someone with like an AV background to know the terminology and lexicon to be able to provide it. And you still need someone sitting behind the computer telling it what to do. You can't just hand it to someone and be like, okay, have fun. It won't be as good as it will.
We're like the DJ Khaled's. We're bringing all the pieces together and we're making the banger. We're not actually doing.
We the best.
You got to have the keys to drive the car.
You got to have the keys.
The way that I look at AI as an artist and a creative, the way that I look at AI is the same way that I think musicians looked at autotune, or how it impacted the workflows and the way you do things. Is that as soon as autotune was invented, it wasn't like, oh, it's a stylistic choice. Like, oh, sure, you had T-Pains and you had early Kanye on 808s and then Drake and Lil Wayne with the obvious autotune as an effect, right? And then Jay-Z 2008, 2009 dropped Death of Autotune. Well, guess what? Autotune fucking thrived after that, right? And it's a thing where there are certain creative outputs where autotune is very obvious, right? Like this is an aesthetic choice.
Sure.
But in the background, every single song you hear on Billboard Top 100, on the radio, on streams, etc., every single song has autotune on it. There's no such thing as a major label production without autotune on it. You just don't notice it, right? And I think that's where AI is going to go. is that every single creative thing is going to have some form of AI processing on it, whether you like it or not, whether you notice or not.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what, like we said, back to, death of autotune and everything, kind of comparing that to the AI Coca-Cola commercial. When that came out, everyone was in an uproar, hated it. Coca-Cola, what the hell are you doing? This sucks. Why would you ever do this? But I was watching Netflix the other day, and same thing. I could spot at least 2 ads that had AI incorporated into it, and like it was a good use case for it. It was great. But whether it was, Lumetri touch-ups, audio fixes, visual like VFX, at least it's going to be incorporated somehow, some way.
Every time I think of autotune, I think of this scene from Land of the Lost. You guys know this scene?
I've seen.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen
I haven't seen it in a while.
I wouldn't touch that, all right?
It's like a.
Yeah, Danny McBride is probably the most genius comedic mind of our time. Anyways, Eastbound and Out is my favorite show.